so easy to build products, but it's really hard to find people to use the products.
Hello, my name is Sarah Stoker. I am the founder and writer of the newsletter If You Know, You Know, and I have the joy and privilege and honor of speaking with Jessie this morning, Jessie, or this afternoon, wherever you're tuning in from. Jessie, can you introduce yourself and tell us why we're talking this morning?
Yes, definitely. And thank you so much, Sarah, for having me here. My name is Jessie Somekh. I started my career in big tech, and I am now a reformed big techie working on a startup called Rotate Your Closet. I have spent my career working in product at Microsoft, Amazon, Google. I've always had a super keen interest in entrepreneurship.
No, I love it. I mean, the whole idea of build the plane while you fly it. It's a fun time and it takes you on a lot of fun adventures. I am so glad you're in this entrepreneur space. Jessie and I met at Noy House a couple weeks back at an event with Ruffin and a couple other folks in the VC space. So Jessie, I'd love to talk and just dive right in. What was the catalyst moment that you said, okay, peace out Google, peace out, the free lunches, all the perks that big tech. I'm going to go and be a self-employed entrepreneur, start this company. Walk me through that catalyst moment and that journey.
It's really interesting because I've been working on Rotate for a while now, and you don't realize, you hear stories about startups and you're like, oh, 10 years in, it becomes, that's when they become profitable, or that's when they hit a really significant milestone that people start to hear about them. They're more of like a consumer name. And you don't really realize all the time that it takes before then to get something up and running. Somebody said to me, and I carry a few things very near and dear to my heart and in the top of my head all the time, but somebody said, it's so easy to build products, but it's really hard to find people to use the products. So that is kind of like one of my guiding principles. And just to set some context, so the company that I started is Rotate Your Closet. It's a peer-to-peer clothing rental platform. So think like Airbnb, but for clothes. Women have all of these clothes that just sit in their closet that they don't wear. They buy because they're going to a bachelorette party, they're going to a wedding, they're going on vacation. And, Sarah, we were talking about this, but like women love to feel good in their clothes. That's really what makes you feel confident about yourself. It completely changes your mood. It changes the way you walk. It changes the way you interact with people. And we were finding that we had so many clothes that were just sitting empty in women's closets. I think there's like 9 billion clothing items that go underutilized every single year because they're just sitting in closets. So 13 years ago, my co-founder and I, we met on actually a language immersion program in Barcelona, and we lived across the hall from each other in dorm style rooms. And we immediately bonded over fashion. Like she walked out the door, I walked out the door, and we're like, oh my God, I love what you're wearing. We immediately became best friends. Anyway, we really connected over that. After this program, she lived in Boston, I lived in New York. We stayed in touch over Instagram. I moved to the West Coast, she's still in Boston. And during COVID, when everyone is, getting rid of their clothes, closet cleanouts, home cleanouts, she posted on her Instagram that she was getting rid of her clothes. She was trying to sell them on Instagram. And I immediately was like, no, don't get rid of them, because she has an amazing closet. You can see it. All of her clothes are on Rotate. So I was like, well, how could we share clothes like we used to when we lived across the hall from each other? And women, in college, you live on a dorm room floor with all women most of the time. And you're throwing things across the hall from each other. Oh, I have this date night, date party. Can I borrow this from you? So there was a real, prolonged issue that we saw from 13 years ago to college to now as adults. I still want to share with her. I still get my style inspiration from, yes, influencers, but also from peers in my life. Or I'm going out to a restaurant and I see someone wearing something cool, and I was like, well, she's probably not wearing it every single day. How can we leverage the clothes that just go unworn and sit in people's closets? We started with our 2 closets on a Shopify site. And then we got, our poor sisters' closets. We forced them to put their closets on. And we found real organic traction starting. We saw people coming to the site who we didn't know, renting stuff, asking if they could list their clothes. So it got to a certain point where we decided to do a second tech build to unlock a full end-to-end platform, because with that first Shopify platform, it wasn't like a full marketplace dynamic. People couldn't upload their own stuff. And we've seen like 1,000% year-over-year growth. So to me, that was kind of a signal to say like, okay, there's something here. And this is all organic traction, by the way. So if we can accomplish all of this organic traction with a suboptimal product with basically zero marketing dollars, then there's really something here. Google will always be there. All the big tech companies will always be there. I want to make, some crazy decision while I'm in my 20s. And there's something a little like cuckoo about us entrepreneurs where we're like, yeah, I'll leave all that behind and I'll go try and start my own thing. And when you look back at your life and you think about like what your accomplishments are, like to me, this is something that I would look back and not regret at all. Like, yes, I could have, stayed at Google and been at the forefront of AI, which is the team that I was a part of at Google, and be learning like crazy, be supported by an amazing, amazing company that really cares about their employees. Like working on the literal like forefront of AI, working with LLMs. But there's also something like my passion has always been in fashion technology. And I always knew, after college, I started at Microsoft working on developer tools. And then I went to Amazon and I started my journey in AI, and it was fascinating. And I'm so grateful I had those experiences, and I can now carry those experiences over to the startup that I'm working on.
Do you think that some of the things you learned at Amazon with AI are using and integrating any of those skills specifically with AI into Rotate, or talking about like any of the emerging technology aspects within the product?
Yes. Okay. Yes. So at Amazon, I was working on AI for Alexa search. So trying to find the best answer for the query, given all the different data sources that you could find. So basically like AI for search, same thing at Google, working in AI for search, also working with LLMs, so generative AI, and just learning a lot about the fundamentals of modeling, quality iterations, how you scale, how you understand your metrics to find product market fit. And that is all, I can translate all of that into Rotate, because one of the biggest challenges today in the women's fashion industry is sizing, right? I'm a 25 in this brand, and I'm a 30 in this brand in jeans, and then I'm like a 4 here, and I'm an 8 here, and like, it's just, there's no rhyme or reason to it. And the only rhyme or reason is women's bodies. And I know that my body shape is similar to your body shape, and I'm a similar height to you, and I have similar, curves, my bra size, and that's never really been leveraged in the fashion space. There are brands that do come around, like Good American is amazing for curvy women, but how you jump from one brand to the next or one style to the next is pretty much impossible. And so that's something that we are using AI to solve, is to build kind of this like, you hear the word like social graph, but we're going to be building a size graph to say, okay, Jessie rented from Sarah. They're maybe different heights, but this is her body type and this is her bra size. And so we can recommend that this product has, 90% chance of fitting you. And it's going to completely revolutionize the way women view sizes, and especially in the rental market. Rent the Runway started with one-time rentals, and they send one item, and a lot of the time things weren't fitting people. So now they actually send two items with you. You could pick a second size because it was such a big problem for them. But they were tackling the problem at the tail end of it, and we're going to be tackling the problem at the way beginning of it. Mm-hmm. So integrating AI to make much smarter recommendations, not just about style preferences, but about size preferences, because it's a huge issue for women.
I'm so excited for this. I mean, I've literally used a dress from Rent the Runway for a wedding in the middle of nowhere, and it literally teared. I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, it was the worst. It was like elevation or something, but that's incredible. So I know you're bragging about some of these technical aspects that I am eating up right and left. Is there anything else you want to talk about technically before we jump into maybe community aspects of this product?
Myself and my co-founder are in the smack dab middle of the target demo. All of our friends are, our focus groups. Like, we can we have such quick feedback cycles and iteration cycles, which is like definitely a competitive advantage for us. And AI is so hot right now, and I think the fashion industry is super ripe for some AI, revelations, things to kind of shake up the fashion industry. So yeah, really excited to get our MVP out, which is going to be in the next couple of weeks. And then we'll start building in some of this AI stuff once we start getting data and can understand some of the patterns and what's working for people and what isn't.
Yeah. Who is your ideal consumer / how can you grow quicker?
Yes. So ideal consumer right now is women from the age of like 20 to 35. That isn't to say that's the limit, because we've had people rent for prom. So right now that's like the initial target market that we are going after, just because, that's the age where you're going out, you're traveling, you have a lot of weddings, you have bachelorettes, you have dinner dates, you want to dress up. And also these are the people that live in cities, and we have local pickup and we have shipping. Within a city, you have a much higher concentration of people, highly densely populated. And so I can go to, literally a neighbor, right? Like I have girls that are like 2 blocks away from me, and they have sick closets, and I'll just go over and I'll be like, oh my God, I have an event tonight. What should I rent from them? And it's a complete game changer. But really that, sweet spot of 20 to 35, you have some disposable income, have some pieces in your closet, and you're, just looking to find new outfits, whether it's from a professional capacity or a personal capacity. We are going to be expanding more into the college space soon, but that is the initial kind of target demo.
Yeah. Oh, I'm really excited for you. And then maybe you could chat a little bit about, is there an environmental play that you're pretty passionate about here too?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So, the sustainability angle is huge. We're buying 60% more clothes than we did 15 years ago. And we're wearing them, like 33% less often. And so the life cycle of clothes, first of all, is going down because of the one-time wears. Long game is for these brands to need to produce less because the demand is lower, because they're able to access these dresses elsewhere. And you can make more money actually by renting the clothes out. So yes, me as an individual, like I can make money, but also brands, by renting them out, you can make significantly more with one item. So there's an environmental play from that angle of long game, reducing the total environmental impact of the fashion industry. But pretty immediately you can see the benefits environmentally, because I don't have to, some of my favorite brands, I hate myself for this, but some of my favorite brands are Australian brands. So shipping costs are a lot, and then the environmental impact of that shipping is really huge, because it has to go on a car, to a truck, to a facility, to another truck, to a plane, to another plane, to a truck, etc. Versus now, I can go to my neighbor's house and I can pick that dress up and I can just walk, right? I get a hot girl walk in there at the same time as I get to get cheaper access to amazing pieces. So 100% an environmental play. And this really is good for the millennial Gen Z generations, who's, one of their top 3 considerations when they're making a purchasing decision is the environmental impacts. So really plays nicely into our target demo.
Yeah, I love it. I literally am like, you need to have your own podcast, because you could just do all the wisdom, all the things that I want to be hearing. And I'm also going to need some fashion advice from you. So as we're wrapping up, I would love to hear, I know you already shared one of the quotes that you hold near and dear to your heart, but as other people who are listening are founders, entrepreneurs, what's something else that you think about before your alarm goes off at 5:30 to do your Pilates class and do your calls and boxes? That you've already done this morning? What is something that you hold to your heart?
Yeah, this is a combination of sweat and water and oil in my hair. So
we love it. Looks good.
So I think the 2 pieces of advice that I have, and this comes from mistakes that I've made. First one is, if you're not embarrassed by a product that you're putting out there, then you're putting it out way too late. The people that you find first that are going to adopt your product, the early adopters, they are going to stick with you, and they're going to want, if there's a need for this product, they're going to stay with you and they're going to be excited about it. They're going to be more tolerant of bad UX, bad UI. So launch early, launch often. There isn't this, there's this like preconceived notion of like, oh, I have this launch and it's going to be the biggest deal. Like, yes, but no, you launch a lot. If you're not embarrassed by the first thing that you're putting out there, then you're launching way too late. You could spend, weeks, months going down a path of fixing something just to later find out that it's not actually an issue. We went from web and we're launching our mobile app now, and we are adding in a bunch of new features because we've learned over the past year what issues our users are having. But, there's some things that started to creep in where we were like, we're doing way too many things. We need to just give one-to-one parity from the web to the mobile platform, and then bring in a little bit of goodness of those, pieces of joy or delight that we can bring to people. And like the top features that we've been hearing has been issues for our users. And then the second thing is to make sure you are protecting yourself. There's a lot of people who will, want to sell you things or help you. Just make sure you're protecting yourself and you're keeping your standards where you need them to be, and really trusting your gut, because those decisions are really important that you're making of, who you bring on to your team. We've been so lucky. We've had amazing people working with us. Those decisions will get in the way of you actually being able to run the business versus having to do damage control. Ask for help. I'm so bad at asking for help, but it has been incredible, the help that I've gotten from my peers, my family. Honestly, I'm still bad at asking for help, but I'm working on it. So you need help. Everyone needs help. Every founder needs help. It's a crazy job, crazy world.
You could just sit here and sew. It's I'm in awe. And I'm really excited for products like yours. Sign me up. I don't have enough. I just have my closet full of Aritzia, so that's all I have for you.
We have some Aritzia, Reformation Aritzia. We have all of that too. So yeah, and it's the new app's going to make uploading a lot easier. So we're going to be doing a lot of stuff to make the upload process a lot easier using AI as well. But right now it takes like 1 or 2 minutes per item.
I know. Well, Jessie, thank you so much for sharing your time and energy with us this morning. And I look forward to, I'll link all of your website and your LinkedIn and all that stuff here. But
perfect.
We'll be following you and rooting for you. So enjoy the rest of your day. And
thank you, Sarah. Bye.
Bye.